Hello, my butterfly friends, and welcome to day 2 of 30 days of Annie posting videos without stressing about editing and such what. Today, we're going to talk about the Hayfield to habitat idea. And I want to tell you about the 6 acres that I have that I'm building the meadow on and show you where it is and some of the dreams that I have for it. So here we go. Well, here you can see here's Chicago, and here we are. We're in a little bitty town called Fowler, Indiana. Sorry to say the name of the street. That doesn't really matter at this point. But Fowler, Indiana. It's in west central Indiana. I was going to take you out in the meadow today and show you parts of it, but it has been storming all day and it's an open field, and an open field is not a great place to stand in a thunderstorm. So here we are in west central Indiana. I grew up over here about where the A is in Indiana, in Anderson, Indiana. So I'm a lifelong Hoosier. I've lived in Indiana all but 3 years of my life, traveled around the world the rest of the time, lived in Chicago for a few months outside of Chicago, grad school. And so Indiana's home. I love Indiana. I love going to other places too, but Indiana's home and there's a lot here for it. So we're here. Let's move in a little bit more. And you can see that our county, Benton County, is pretty much all rural farms. The closest town of any size is over here in West Lafayette with Purdue. Um, we lived for 20 years in Montmorency, and then we bought a house out here in Fowler, and it's still storming a little bit outside. And so, I'm not sure if the video is going to work today or not. Um, the lights were flickering a little bit, but that's okay. That's okay. So here's our little town of Fowler, and we are on, it's just a little triangle town. We're here in the northeast corner of our little triangle. And as I tuck in a little bit tighter, you'll see we live on East Main Street. Strange thing about Main Street, it's called Main Street, but it is not the main street in town. That is actually down here on Fifth Street. Fifth Street's considered the main lowercase m Main Street. We live on Main Street. I'm not sure why it was called Main Street to begin with when it was platted, but it was. And this is our house. And what you see here that looks like a funky little lowercase h, that's Mariposa Meadow. And as you can see, there's nothing there right now. There's my burn pile of sticks. There's another burn pile. But this is just a hayfield that we have mowed a couple times during the year in order to just keep it under control, make a little bit of cash, not much. But it's about 6 acres right there. And I want to show you here. I've got a publisher document that I've been working from here's our house. And I've just got this so I can figure things out, the sizes, the distances of that. Um, we've got some problems there. We've got some drainage issues we need to deal with. I'm gonna take that out for the time being. Excuse me, it's in the way. Let's just send it back so it disappears. There we go. We have a walnut grove here, and I don't know if you know anything about walnuts, but walnuts and a couple other different kinds of trees emit some sort of substance that helps them survive. And it basically poisons a lot of other things. But not so much poisons as it prevents other things from growing. That's a good way of saying it. So if I'm going to be putting flowers and stuff out here, I have to be careful to stay away from the walnuts. Well, our ever so helpful squirrels have taken a lot of the nuts, and we now have walnuts all the way around the property here. And so I'm going to have to deal with that. So there's a lot of issues in building the farm right now. But this is our house here. Let me go down to a later page. Yes, I've got all kinds of land analysis here. I've got soil types and so on. And this is, as of last May, this is kind of what I was thinking about doing with the meadow. Um, I don't know yet what's going to actually work its way out. And let me start you with here. You will come in the entrance over here, and I would love to have a pole barn, a gift shop, a greenhouse, a real greenhouse right there. You can see these little rectangles right here. They are little cheapo greenhouses that I got from Amazon. I One day it dawned on me, I don't need to wait until I have ten and $20,000 to build a big greenhouse. I can make do with these little ones. And we are making do. We have some issues, and I'll talk about that in a later video, but they're working pretty well so far. And I haven't spent $10,000 on them. So anyway, you come in here to the entrance. Here's the shop, the pole barn, the greenhouse. The shop will probably be on the north side, and then I'll have a pole barn so we can put equipment away. And then on the south side, of course, I want to have a real greenhouse, and in that real greenhouse, we'll have plants for sale. Now, if you'll notice, all along this line, I have a windbreak. You saw the word windbreak. This is Benton County. Benton County has, I think, over 600 windmills, and it's not that big of a county. And so it's windy here just about all the time. And if I want to grow things in this meadow, I need to cut the wind down. So I'm going to be planting a windbreak along there. And I've gone through different ideas of what I want to plant there. But the idea that I've come up with the most is that I want to plant willows, like prairie willows and meadow willows, which both of which are native in this area. And I also want to plant things like crab apples and dogwoods and other woody perennials that will provide food for the birds during the winter. Um, I love songbirds, and I love watching birds. Butterflies and birds I just enjoy them so much. So having an entire windbreak along there would be really good. Now, given the lay of the land, the highest point of the land is right here. And so this is where I'm thinking about building, and that's why it's purple, and that's why there's a butterfly maze right there. And it's not going to look exactly like that. I don't know exactly what it's going to look like yet, but that's kind of where I want to put the maze that you'll come in here and maybe a picnic shelter so people can just sit and enjoy. I've got the Gateway Garden, which is maybe one or two plants of everything I have going, and sort of a this is what's blooming right now preview sort of idea. A potential kids play area. You know, I'm a teacher. You know, I enjoy talking and thinking about things like natural play. And I've been studying a lot. My daughter's interested in child development and such. And kids nowadays have plastic playgrounds, and they don't get to experience mud and playing in the leaves and sticks and things like that. And so I've thought about here in this area having a natural playground for kids. Uh, I don't know yet. I've got a big Pinterest board with lots of ideas, but I don't know yet. These are just dreams at this point. So dream along with me. And here I have Willow House, and I don't know if you've seen those or not, but those are living structures where willow roots very easily. And the idea is that I could build a big structure of sorts out of live willow sticks, put them in the ground, they'll root, and then as they grow, I can weave them into some sort of structure. I don't know. These are just ideas. So it says about 2 acres of lavender rose. I don't know how much this area is about 2 acres. I don't know how much it's going to actually be. Back here, I want, I have high tunnels. It says high tunnels. That means it's like a greenhouse, only it's not climate controlled. It's really only good for 3 seasons during the winter. But this area is not protected by the wind. And something I have found this winter with the greenhouses that I have, this greenhouse here is pretty good, in pretty good shape. These two greenhouses, because they got hit so hard with the wind, they really suffered this winter. So, and that was their first year. I've only had them up 1 year. This one I've had up for 2 years. But these two greenhouses really took a hit this winter. Um, I don't know if I will be able to do high tunnels over there. The benefit of high tunnels would be, okay, you see I have peonies, irises, roses, lilacs, hydrangeas. Just take peonies, for example. When you put something in a greenhouse, on average-ish, for example, we live in zone 5B here. For every layer of plastic, every layer of greenhouse that you have, you can sort of move south 1 zone. So my little greenhouses uh, kind of put my plants, even though I'm towards northern Indiana, they put my plants more towards Kentucky, which means they make it a little bit warmer for them. Now, sometimes when the sun's out, it can get up during the day really hot in there. But in this temperate season, they can add a few degrees. So my idea is I'll have peonies and such out there out in the field here, but I might have some back here in tunnels as well, and they will be protected and they will bloom a little bit earlier. I don't know how that will work out. I know some flower farmers do it. I don't know how it'll work out, but it's an idea. If I don't have high tunnels out here, I may move them over to the other side. And what I might have out here would be elderberries, raspberries, blackberries. I'm contemplating a U pick and a me pick. I don't know. Lots of I don't know about this. So, like I said, it's all dreaming at this point. We have some drainage issues, as you saw from the first picture, and it's not going to be this big. Um, get that back over there. It's not going to be this big, but there is a significant um, depression area right there. And what I would like to do is to build a bit of a dry creek. Now, when you look at the way the land runs, this is actually very much downhill from the road. So we get runoff from the road that comes out here. And I'm thinking about building like a trench drain here that would funnel the water then into the dry creek. And then it's called Dry Creek because most of the year it is dry, but like right now we had torrential rains, and I can guarantee you there's a pond out there after today. Um, but I don't want people tripping or trying to climb over the rocks that are in the dry creek bed. And so I want to put little walkover bridges. They're not going to be really huge bridges like that, but that's the area that they will be. All right. In the walnut grove, and I like this. It is a beautiful walnut grove. I want to put seating and picnic tables, maybe some swings, maybe some Adirondack chairs. This is actually a little higher ground than over here. And so you would be sitting not much higher, but a little higher. You would be sitting and looking out over everything. Now, I'm calling this the juglone zone. Juglone is that substance that I told you that walnuts emit. And one thing about native wildflowers is they're juglone tolerant. But peonies and irises and roses that are not native, they're not juglone tolerant. So if you have a tree like that, put stuff around it that's known to be tolerant. And I'm going to actually build this curved edge up a little bit so that the water coming off the walnut grove will then be channeled down this way and stay away from the peonies, the irises, etc. So this will be the native wildflower meadow area over here. And I may continue it on down here, but I'm also going to be planting willows over here. There's really a lot of fantastic things you can make out of willows. I'm putting maybe some cut flowers over here. Right now, this last summer, I tried to grow some sunflowers and zinnias, and there's the burn pile. They're like right here in the middle where it says irises. I got everything planted, and then my husband became sick, and my summer fell apart, and the flowers were coming on while he was in the hospital near death. And so I had to choose my priorities. So forget the flowers, tend to the husband. And we'll talk more about that later. But um, I may for a while have cut flowers out here. I don't know. That's what I just keep saying. I don't know what's actually going to happen, but these are my dreams. What I want people to feel when they come in through the gates, past the gateway garden, I want them to go, oh, and then they'll first see the flowers here in the gateway garden, but then they will look out and they will see and smell all this lavender is going to be just fabulous. But then they will see the peonies, the irises, the roses, the hydrangeas, the lilacs, the I don't know what everything else is yet. These are just some of my favorites. But I want them to feel like they're being hugged by beauty. I want them to feel warmth and nostalgia. The kind of roses I want to grow are not the super hybridized, you can't even recognize it as a rose anymore. The ones I want to grow are more simple. They smell heavenly. Oh, they smell so good. And I want you to be transported back to a simpler, warmer, more loving time. I want you to feel like you're being hugged by nostalgia. I want people, when they cross that gate, fenced area, I want them to stop and sigh and and start drinking in the beauty and start relaxing. Because I find when I'm working with my flowers, when I'm working with the plants in the greenhouses, my blood pressure goes down. My heart rate slows down. My shoulders relax a little bit. And I want to give people the same sort of peace that I have found in the meadow as well. Well, that's it for now. These are my dreams. I invite you to dream along with me. Now, I don't know how I'm going to accomplish all of this. I have no idea. I have a few, well, actually, I do have a couple of ideas, and I'll be talking more about those later. If you have any ideas for how I can accomplish all of this, let me know. I will not take out a loan to do flowers. I do have a loan on the land and it's almost paid off. It will be paid off by the end of this year, and I'm so excited about that. But if you have any ideas, um, let me know. Leave comments, um, send me a message, whatever you want to do. And I will see you tomorrow for day 3. Good night. Um, let's see. I can't think of anything clever right now, so I'll just say bye bye, butterfly, like I always do. Let me turn this off. Bye.